What is going on, everybody? My name is Ash and thank you for clicking on my channel today. In this video today, I'm going to be ranking the Power 5 conferences on the least to most frat. So in case you do not know what the Power 5 conferences are, that is the Pac-12, the SEC, the Big 12, the Big 10, and then the ACC. So now obviously all these conferences have big universities at them and they all have Greek life. And this list is not saying that any of these conferences have necessarily bad Greek life. This is simply just for entertainment purposes, as well as a little bit of competition. This is going to be as objective as I can possibly make it, and there will be 4 different ranking lists that I'm referencing in this video. So the first one is from niche.com for 2021 best colleges for Greek life. The second one is going to be the Princeton Review for lots of Greek life. Third one is going to be the Rent College Page Greek Rankings, the top schools for Frats and Strats 2021, and the fourth one is going to be College Express, colleges with the most fraternities. My plan is to go through each individual ranking and mention every single Power 5 school that made the list, as well as I'm going to total up how many are from each conference and then average the rankings to rank each individual conference from that article. After the conference rankings are done for each of these individual articles, I'm also then going to be averaging those rankings to determine each conference's standing relative to each other. So pretty much I'm going to be doing all of these number crunching here and all the nerd work so that none of you G's have to. If you enjoy the video, please make sure to leave a like as well as to subscribe for more frat videos, and also make sure to leave a comment on what you think of these rankings as well. So up first, I'm going to be referencing the niche.com list. Now this list goes super deep, so pretty much I'm only going to be looking at the top 50 in their rankings. So up first for the ACC Atlantic Coastal Conference, we have Florida State 1, Syracuse 10, Virginia 38, and Miami 40. Between these 4 schools, the average is going to be a 22.25 for their ranking. Up next for the Big 10 Conference, we got Illinois 2, Penn State 8, Wisconsin 9, Indiana 14, Michigan State 20, Iowa 24, Ohio State 47. For the Big 10, with all of these, the average ranking is a 17.714. Up next for the Big 12, we have West Virginia 13, Texas 32, Texas Tech 46, and Kansas 50. Average ranking for all the Big 12 schools here is 35.25. Up next for the Pac-12, we got USC 7, Washington State 25, Colorado 28, Arizona 39. Average for the Pac-12 is going to be 24.75. Up last, we got the SEC. We got Alabama 3, Mississippi 4, Georgia 6, South Carolina 30, Mizzou 31, LSU 34, Arkansas 35, and Florida 41. Average ranking for the SEC is going to be 23. Based on all these average rankings across niche.com, that turns out that number 1 is going to be the Big 10 with the 17.714. Second is going to be the ACC. They got a 22.25, barely just beat the SEC. SEC is number 3 at 23. Pac-12 is just behind the SEC with a 24.75, and the Big 12 was the worst with the 35.25 ranking here. Second one I'm going to be looking at here is going to be the Princeton Review. Comment that this is one of the lists that's a bigger deal to make, but I really wish there was more than just 20 spots here because I really would be curious to see who would make the 21 through 30 spots here. So the ACC only has 1 school in this list, that is Florida State 10, because they only have the 1 school at number 10. That's going to be their average ranking. Big 10, we have nothing. Big 12, we got just TCU at 18. So similar to the ACC with only 1 school, this 18 for TCU is going to be the average rank for the Big 12. And then up next for the Pac-12, we have nothing. For the SEC, they got completely stacked on this list. We got Alabama 1, Vanderbilt 8, Arkansas 15, and Auburn 16. Between the averages of these, that's going to be a number 10. They have the same number average as the ACC. Because of the SEC having multiple spots on this list, they're going to be getting the number 1 spot, with ACC at the number 2, and then the Big 12 is going to be number 3. Because the Big 10 and the Pac-12 did not have any schools that make the list, these are both going to receive a 5th place ranking. Up next here, I got the Rent College Pass list. Not a whole lot really to say here, so let's get into the numbers. For the ACC, Virginia 20, Florida State 6, Syracuse 3. Average between this is going to be a 9.67. For the Big 10, we got Penn State 19, Michigan 18, Purdue 13, Indiana 11, Illinois 9, and Iowa 7. Average ranking for the BTN is going to be sitting right at a 12.83. Big 12 is going to have Iowa State and Oklahoma, rankings 14 and 12. Average for this conference is going to be right between those two at a 13. Pac-12 just got the 1 school, USC, number 8. making the average ranking also going to be an 8. And then similar to the other lists here, the SEC is stacked as normal. We got Auburn 17, Arkansas 10, Mizzou 5, Alabama 4, and Ole Miss 1. Average for that is going to be a 7.4. Based on these numbers for college pads, we are looking at a ranking of number 1, the SEC, number 2, Pac-12, number 3, ACC, number 4, Big 10, number 5, Big 12. Last list I'm going to be taking a look at here is going to be College Express. This actually might be one of my favorite lists that I looked at because it covers a very important factor for these rankings, and that is the total number of frats on each of the campuses. So for this reason, there will be many schools that show up with tie rankings, meaning that these two different schools have the same number of chapters. But anyways, let's get into the list here. ACC, we have UNC number 10, Syracuse 14, Virginia 14 also, NC State number 15. Average for this is going to be at a 13.25. Big 10, we have a lot here. We have Purdue 1, Penn State 2, Illinois 3, Ohio State 6, Michigan State 7, Indiana 8, Maryland 10, Michigan 15, Minnesota 16, and Nebraska also 16. Average here for the Big 10 is at an 8.4. Big 12, we have Iowa State 4, Texas 10, Texas Tech 11, Oklahoma 13, Oklahoma State 14. Average for all of this on the Big 12 is going to be a 10.4. Pac-12, we have Arizona State 5, Washington 12, UCLA 17, and then USC at 13. Average for the Pac-12 here is going to be at a 11.75. Last but not least, we got the SEC. Alabama 8, Georgia 9, Mizzou 12, Auburn also 12, Texas A&M 16, and South Carolina 17. Average being here a 12.33. Now, from all these average rankings with each of these are going to fall into the order of number 1, Big 10, number 2, Big 12, number 3, Pac-12, number 4, SEC, and number 5, ACC. On all of these lists in total, we saw 23 appearances for both the SEC and the Big 10. The Big 12 and the ACC both had 12 appearances. The Pac-12 only had 9. So if I was going to rank all these conferences based on just their average rankings, it would look like this. SEC at number 1 with a 2.25 average ranking. Big 10 number 2 with a 2.75. Number 3, the ACC with a 3.0. Number 4, the Pac-12 with a 3.5. And number 5, the Big 12 with a 3.75. But wait, there's another important factor that also should be taken into account, and that is how many schools from each conference did not even make any of these lists. So each of these conferences is going to be as strong as their weakest link. So up first here, for the ACC, we have Georgia Tech, Pitt, Virginia Tech, Wake Forest, Boston College, Duke, Louisville, and Clemson. So if you include Notre Dame as well, that's 60% of the ACC did not make any list. But if you do not include Notre Dame, that's only 57%. Which is still pretty bad. For the Big 10, the only two schools that did not make any list was Rutgers and Northwestern. Being that only these two schools did not make it, 14% of the Big 10 did not make the list, meaning 86% is top ranked for Greek life. For the Big 12, the only two schools we did not see today were Baylor and K-State. 2 teams out of the 10 in the conference makes it 20% that didn't make. SEC is also going to have Kentucky and Tennessee, 2 schools similar to the Big 10, so going to be 14%. Pac-12, we have Oregon, Oregon State, California, Stanford, and Utah. So overall, that makes up about 42% of the conference that did not make any of these lists today. I'm going to multiply those overall averages I previously came up with by the percentage of schools that are not top ranked for Greek life. So basically, they're a bunch of GEAT schools, meaning that the lower percentage of GEAT schools in your conference will bring your overall average lower, be more favorable for your situation. But a higher percentage of rando colleges is going to keep your number higher. And then when we take those averages by the percentages, here's what we get. SEC is still at number 1 with a 0.315. Big 10 is still at number 2 with a 0.385. However, the Big 12 moved up from the 5th place ranking to the number 3 ranking. Pac-12 is at a 4th place with a 1.47, and the ACC is at a 1.8 or a 1.71 if you do not count Notre Dame. So the ACC dropped from number 3 to number 5. So there you have it. It should have been no surprise that the SEC was going to top the list. I knew I was expecting them to do that even before I started doing the research for this video. Apart from that, was anybody else surprised the Big 10 ended up as number 2, or about how the ACC dropped to number 5? Please make sure to leave a comment on your thoughts and if you would do this ranking any different or how you would calculate these numbers. Besides that, I really hope you enjoyed the video today, and please make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy it. Please make sure to subscribe for more frat videos, and take it easy, bros.